You said you studied advertising and that design. What on earth got you into interior design from there?
So I worked in ad agencies for the first 10 years of my career. And gosh, it was just so fun. And I just love people so much. And I love to understand their story. Anyway, I built a home on Alice Lane in Farmington, Utah. Just had a lot of friends and family be like, I love your house. How can you help me with my house? And so I'd be like, yeah, no problem. And at that point I was freelancing. I just had a baby and I had a toddler at home too. And then we had a good friend that just really, really loved our home. And he was like, will you do my corporate headquarters? I was like, so do you mean your logo, right? Like your branding? And he was like, no, I want you to design the interiors. And so I said yes. And I probably shouldn't have. I didn't have the training, but that was the funnest thing I had ever done in my whole life. We are working with one home builder right now, and their standard is LVP, which is laminated vinyl something or other. It looks like wood, but it's really vinyl. Don't do that. That's not right. It's not going to sound like wood when you walk on it. It's like wood stickers instead of wood floors. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
so
interesting.
It's going to be really echoey and loud. And if you have a bunch of kids, that's going to be like worse than a gymnasium, because wood does help absorb some sound. And it also gives a sound when you're walking on it. So there's some things like that I think you'll regret over time. So maybe splurge on things that are real living finishes, and then just wait. You wait for your window treatments. Put those paper ones up until you can afford those. But the things that are actually the house is built out of, invest in those things. I don't think you'll regret that.
Yeah. So we were talking a little bit about how appliances are on shortage.
Yes.
So as soon as you decide you need one, order it right away.
Yes, definitely. I mean, if you think you're going to do a new kitchen, for sure go appliance shopping first, and then work with whoever's doing the kitchen layouts. Make sure everything's going to fit in, because you might have dreams of, I don't know. Like one of my favorite appliances is my ice maker, and it's frivolous. You don't have to have it, but it's pretty fun if you love a beverage, to be able to open that thing up and have a scoop and have perfect ice. So if you have certain dreams, which of course you have dreams, that's why you're putting in a new kitchen or why you're buying a new home and you have this opportunity for a kitchen. I think you should have your wish list and then work with your cabinetry designer to see how everything fits. As soon as you know that it's a go and you feel good about it, you got to buy those appliances. And then you can keep working through cabinetry details and hardware and all of that. But yeah, hardware also is a huge shortage right now. We have a client that's been opening her fridge with blue tape for 5 months.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know what it is in metal, or I don't know, but hopefully by the time this airs, this will all be figured out.
This will be a thing of the past.
I don't
already.
know. It's an interesting time to live in, though, because like our processes of designing have had to change because of the things that we need to order before we start a project.
Yeah.
But you want it all to show up at the same time, you
Ideally,
know?
yeah.
And you don't want to move into a house without a fridge or a microwave or an oven or whatever it is that you need. So, yeah.
So another question kind of coming off of that too is, what influences are you seeing more in design? I mean, I'm seeing these glorious ovens with like all these gorgeous knobs. Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, that comes from France.
Okay. So, okay.
I think people definitely have these dream stoves. And so usually that's like their North Star when they're like going to do this kitchen, and they're like, just so you know, I have to have. And they say it and they're like, oh, we're doing a French kitchen then, because we're not just going to put the stove in the middle of a shaker kitchen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's inspired by France. And then we're like, so do you know that in that stove, none of your current cookie sheets will fit because the compartments are smaller. Are you okay to buy new pans? Because I don't know if people tell them. Yeah. So it's an interesting thing, but it's usually people that love to cook or people that just aesthetically love the look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not like a common thing to do. It's also expensive. It's like parking a car in your kitchen, we always say. It's like the stovetop and the range, it's all in one. And it's this beautiful, whatever the brand is, La Cornue or... there's a really beautiful one now called Officino Gullo that's Italian that we're putting in a Dallas home. And it's like so pretty to me, but it works like an American oven. And you can keep all your cookie sheets and the gas works like normal, but it has this great big emblem like right on the front door, and it just looks like the royal family owns it. You know, it's so beautiful. So yeah, it's kind of a prestige thing for some people. Others, it's just that they really are purists, and that's the way they cook, and they have certain pans, and you know, they're like really French cooks, and they know how to use it and how to do it. And I'm like, you deserve it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You should have that oven.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't care if you have a closet, but you get that oven. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like the car guy that needs the, you
Yes.
know, double-story garage or whatever it
Yes,
is. Okay.
exactly.
Very cool. Any other, you know, other cultures that are influencing interior design right now, aside from just maybe the French kitchen?
Gosh, I think for us, it's always going to come from the client. We're working on a home that, you know, the woman's originally from England, and they now live in southern Utah, and the home feels very English. There's lots of little tiles everywhere, tons of color. There's not a neutral anywhere, and it's really fun. It's a fun exercise for us as designers to get to work with her and to pull inspiration from England and understand her and the way she grew up and what the color means to her and why this, and is this the right shade, and all of that. So that's super, super fun. But usually the influence is always going to come. We do, you know, we've done a couple of kitchens for Jewish families that have kosher kitchens and regular kitchens.
Yeah.
One for a lovely Sikh family out of the city of Washington State. And they have an aroma kitchen where they have 50 pounds of onions and garlic and stuff delivered in these big drums. And then they have and then the kitchen in front's like the clean kitchen. And then, you know, they have these just different sections where different things happen, and they like to entertain a lot. And so 50 pounds of onions goes in a week, you know?
Wow.
So it's just like all sorts of beautiful families with gorgeous cultures, and we get to learn along the way and why they do it and how they do it. And they need a dining room that seats 30, and we're like, and they're going to use their dining room. How many people use it? You know, it's really cool. But as far as influences, I do feel like it's like such a more global place today because we are all on social media. We're all on Pinterest. We're all sharing different things that we love. And I mean, I follow one account on Instagram that's Turkish, and they do a beautiful job at fingernails. And I'm always looking at the nail colors like, that's so beautiful. I should try that. I try never to paint my fingernails the same color twice because I try to keep myself from falling in a rut, you know, because I feel like at my age, it's really easy to do the same thing, or this pair of shoes works great, so I'm going to buy it in every color, or this pair of pants works great. I try to not do that just to like keep myself current and fresh because it's my job to be able to do that. But anyway, I think that we just all have this beautiful amount of information available to us, visual, you know, as well. I also love the big cocktail table books from all over the place and the influence. And I love to know the why, because we're trying to solve for that all the time with people. Like, you know, why is that your favorite color? Show me what else is, you know, you're just trying to really dig in deep and then design for the one. So I don't know. That's probably not a very good answer about like, you're probably like Italy. Everybody wants Italy, but I don't know. It's just like, it depends on your influence and where you've been, where have you traveled? What did you love? You loved Morocco? Awesome. Let's talk about it. What did you see there, you know? So,
I love that. So another question I have for you, kind of speaking of design and your background, and you said you know, studied advertising and that design. What on earth got you into interior design from there?
Oh, I know. Such a good question. So I worked in ad agencies for the first 10 years of my career. And gosh, it was just so fun. And I just love people so much. And I love to understand their story and how that spins into, you know, the brand, or how to create one mark for this extraordinary business that does all these incredible things. And so you just have to get really curious, and you have to love people, and you have to just be willing to ask anything and do anything to get the answer. And anyway, I built a home on Alice Lane in Farmington, Utah, and just had a lot of friends and family be like, I love your house. How can you help me with my house? And so I'd be like, yeah, no problem. And at that point I was freelancing. I just had a baby and I had a toddler at home too. And so I just started helping people because I'm just always on the move and I love humans, and just trying to figure out who they were. And then we had a good friend that just really, really loved our home. It was like, we need to open a store together. Your house is my favorite store I've ever seen, or is the most beautiful house I've ever seen. And he was like, will you do my corporate headquarters? It was a high-tech company. And I was like, so do you mean your logo, right? Like your branding? And he was like, no, I want you to design the interiors because I love your house so much. And so I said yes. And I probably shouldn't have. I didn't have the training, but that was the funnest thing I had ever done in my whole life. I loved it so much. Like outside of having 2 daughters, it's so fun. But anyway, it was just a dream. And they were contemporary. And I just kept hunting and hunting for this in our state of Utah. And at the time, early 2000s tech company, there's not a lot of contemporary offerings that are extraordinary. And so I just kept buying books and magazines and just trying to rip out and find like exactly what I was looking for so that I could go hunting for it. And I was like, I feel like I need to open a store and make this available to people because I couldn't find it here. And I knew that there was a need. I didn't want to be a Me Too because I was like, there's no point in doing the same thing everybody else is doing because there's no need for that. But
Right.
I did feel like there was a need for transitional design, or if you like contemporary, that we could do that. And we had the resources for that. And to hire well-versed designers, we've got a staff of currently, I think, 10 or 11 designers in the design center, and all of them love all the different styles. So we're not a one-trick pony. We're not going to just do the same thing in everybody's house again and again. We're going to really dive in because of my background that I just really want to create something that's just for you. And we have so many vendors, and we've just started designing our own product as well, which is like also one of the biggest thrills of my lifetime. And, we can create a house just for one family for their story, which is awesome. And we also have another design team now that just does home furnishings in people's homes. And it's a free service because some people walk in and they're like, okay, I love this, but how do I know if it's going to fit in my house? And they're like, no problem. We'll put your house on AutoCAD. We'll draw this sectional out. We'll show you the different ways it will fit. You need a rug, you need a light fixture, and they'll dial it in for you so that you don't have to sit with a ruler and graph paper and try and figure it out. So that's been a really popular service, and we're able to just help more and more people, which is the whole purpose of opening the store, is making this thing available and then just let us serve you. So it's been super, super fun journey.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love that you offer these design services for free, right?
Yeah.
So for those of us that are like, okay, this isn't my forever home.
Yes.
I'll hire Alice Lane when I'm there,
Yeah,
but I can come and get some suggestions so that when that
Definitely.
sectional arrives, it suddenly doesn't fit.
definitely. Yes. No, I mean, what a nightmare, right? Because especially right now, sofas are taking 10 months. Can you imagine? I'm going to tell you right now, I ordered a sofa for myself in July. In October. I'm going to get it in July or August. So if that didn't fit in my house, I would definitely feel really bad for myself. So yeah. And then sometimes people get stumped too because they're like, I don't know what pillows to put on it. And we're like, we'll put together a pillow story for you. Like, this is what we do. Let us just do it for you. Let us be your Disneyland Fast Pass. You don't need to break your brain over it,
Yes.
So yeah, that's been really popular, that service.
Well, and I love that, we can lean into what each other are specialists at,
Yes.
right?
Totally. I feel that way too. Like, I go into any store and I'm like, do you work here? Because I need to get these things and I have no idea where to even start,
Yeah.
So yeah, I love it when I was probably our generation too, where you're just like, I love it when people still talk to me and where they'll just help me get there faster, because time is such a luxury right now. Who has any, right?
Yes, exactly.
So, yeah, we just try and make it as easy as we can for people.
Yeah. And I love how you said, don't paint my nails the same color.
Yeah,
We got to get ourselves out of our comfort zone maybe
definitely.
every once in a while. I recently heard a quote from an older gentleman that said, I don't buy green bananas anymore. Like, we got to make sure that we're present and in the moment.
I
And
love
think
that.
a lot of that comes down to where we spend our time,
Yeah.
for sure, which is in our home.
Mhm,
It's one of our biggest
definitely.
investments. And obviously, Mountain America is invested in your home because, we want to help you get into your dream home.
Yes.
But once you're in your home, in your house, how do you make it a home?
Exactly.
And it's through that interior design.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
If you had to choose a favorite designer, whether we all would know them or not.
Yeah.
Who are they? Who's inspiring you?
Oh gosh. I mean, I have so many favorites and I have all their cocktail table books at home. And so it kind of depends on what it is that I'm trying to solve for or like create. I have so many favorites. But forever and ever, when people used to ask me that question, I would always say Thomas O'Brien. I love men designers. They have a lot of strength to their work. They're fearless. And I don't know, it's just an interesting thing. I also love women designers, but I've loved Thomas forever. I feel like there's this group out of Nashville that are architects and interior architects, and they're huge in Utah right now. I keep seeing signs everywhere. People are hiring them to do the architecture. And then we have a group of builders here that will build the homes for them, but it's called McAlpine and Tankersley. I think they say actually McAlpin, but it has an E on the end.
Okay.
McAlpin and Tankersley, and they have the most beautiful, beautiful interior designer that works for them, and his name's Ray Booth. And his style is so strong. His space planning is bananas. Space planning is the way that you arrange your furniture, and it almost looks like when you walk into a room that he's done, that the furniture is having a conversation with itself, like before the humans even put their bodies in. Most people are going to put an L sectional in the room, maybe a pair of chairs and a coffee table. If you see what Ray Booth does, it's just like he'll make a couple different settings, because if you've ever been at a big party, nobody's ever having one big conversation. It's always these little breakout conversations. And he designs the room as if there's a lot of little intimate moments going on, but then you could also turn the chair and be a part of a bigger group if you wanted to. And so there's just a lot of intimacy about his spaces and the materiality that's so beautiful. And so if I'm kind of stumped on space planning because I'm trying to create something we haven't done before, I love Ray Booth. Everybody loves Kelly Wearstler. I feel like that's the most canned answer I could give you, but she breaks all the rules and she's very 80s inspired and she's fearless. She loves fashion. Even just looking at her and the way she puts together her outfit, you're like, where do you shop? How do you do this? Where are you coming up with this? She has textiles now, wallpapers, lighting. So everybody can kind of start to get that look in their home. And I feel like people are loving that. And there's like Suzanne Kassler, who's just like a total classic, just totally traditional and classic. She leans a tiny bit transitional. And so you might have a client that just really wants that look and loves it. Oh, funny enough, also when we were doing Rachel Parcells' home, she really wanted us to style the home as if it was a Nancy Meyers movie. Nancy Meyers is like, all the greats, Father of the Bride and Something's Gotta Give. And anyway, all these amazing movies, The Holiday with Jude Law. And anyway, so they're just like these kind of effortlessly styled, overloading with books and just to make it feel really interesting and alive and like it's a living, breathing thing. So that was a really fun challenge too. So there's inspiration everywhere. Honestly, like pop culture, watching TV and movies, like we just talked about Nancy Meyers, is really inspiring. I mean, pause it, take a screenshot, show your designer, this is how I want to live.
Yeah, I love Cameron Diaz's home in The Holiday.
Yeah, see?
It is glorious.
Amazing. Yeah. And think how long that was. And even me, I'd be like, I want to live like that. I want to push a button. I want my shades to rise in the morning, or I want to shut them in the middle of the day and take a nap. And yeah, that whole thing, it's all lifestyle and it all inspires. So yeah.
Jess, when it comes to maybe a project or a product, you mentioned that you're creating your own line now. That you're most proud of or that you're just really excited about. What is that?
Yeah, I think the Odette step stool is something that we created as we kept doing all of these closets. Inevitably, there's shelves, a place that the luggage sits, or, those winter sweaters or whatever it is up there. And women can't reach them. Men sometimes can't reach them either, depending on how high the ceilings are. And so we were like, we need to create a step stool that's going to work in every single closet, no matter the style. And so we decided that we wanted to create it out of lucite, which is clear and really thick walled with brass fittings. And it's 2 steps. And you can actually also sit on it and pull your boots on or whatever. But because it's completely transparent, it looks great in every closet. And we just launched it probably like 6 months ago or so, and it's gone gangbusters. And I'm just so happy. It's so satisfying when I look at it because we kept saying, we need this for people's closets. We can't find a clear step stool. We can't even find great step stools. Most of them are wooden and they're too kitcheny to go in a beautiful closet that, these homeowners just pay the same money for a kitchen for. And so it's just so fun and satisfying to finally have this thing come to life. So Odette's like such a favorite right now.
And such a perfect name.
Oh, thank you.
Good grief.
Yeah, we love that. We have a naming committee that goes through like 3 of us to be able to find the perfect name. So yeah. Anyway, we love it. Yeah.
So just when it comes to functionality versus aesthetics.
Yeah.
What do you favor one over another as an interior designer, or is it really we want it to just work the best?
I think this isn't all interior designers, but you heard me say I would get a great mattress before I even get the bed. For some reason, and Sue always laughs at me, I'm really practical. Like I'm going to kick the tires on this idea to make sure it's bulletproof before we move forward with it, because I'm old enough now that I've seen enough, I've sat in enough things, I've lived certain ways, and I don't want to suffer for beauty, So some things we do, it depends on the client. If they're young and they want to do it and they don't care if it's not comfortable or whatever, it's like, those 6-inch heels. Yeah. Then you're like, lean in, let's go, let's do it. It's fun. But for myself, and, you can see other people that are, they're like not in their 20s anymore, or I'm not in my 30s either. I think that, there is a level of practicality that comes in. They're like, I got to buy a sofa, but this time it has to support my head. It needs to be high enough up, And so you're like, no, I get you. I feel that way right now too. So I want it to be both. I want it to be practical, and I also want it to be gorgeous. And, I'm struggling right now. I got that new sofa on order that's taken forever, and I need to get a new pair of chairs. And the ones I would love are in a cotton velvet, and I have pets. And I'm like, it should be a polyester velvet if it's going to hold up, you know? But the cotton velvet's just like the thing in my dreams. So I'll probably order the chairs in something more responsible, even though I know that the day it was installed, that the cotton velvet would be the more gorgeous choice. So we're also like, as designers, I'm the one that walks through and I'm like, what's the content on that fabric? She has dogs. I'm only saying this because I have a dog. That's not going to work, Yeah. And so I just want to make sure it holds up because it is an investment. They're really trusting us all the way around to make it gorgeous, I think, first of all, but to make sure that it's long lasting and that it's them and that it's going to work with their kids and their pets and all of that. Rachel Parcells' sectional is Krypton, which is fully immersed in this, it's this product that's hydrophobic. We could pour water on it and it would sit on top of it, not even sink in. You just put a paper towel in there, it sucks it up and it's still dry underneath.
Whoa.
She wanted a white sofa and I was like, you got that big dog and you got those kids. And she's like, we got to make it work. So that is some serious technology in fabric and it's doable right now. It's a great time. It's a great time to build. It's a great time to furnish.
Yeah, I need some kryptonite on my sofa. Good grief. Yeah. Is Krypton? Is that what you said?
Yeah, Krypton. Everybody's got it right now. Every line of furniture. So even if you wanted to like reupholster, you could buy the fabric and put it on anything. So
how cool.
Yeah, it's great. Cool.
I love it. We talked about you and Sue's, how you joke now about all the times you used to go cowboy on things.
Yes.
So what is the one project early on that you're like, that was the most cowboyish thing I've ever done?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think this one kind of got us out of being cowboys back then, but we worked really early on. We were super lucky. The store is open. It's a retail store, but people keep asking for design services. And so we're like, oh man, we should, because after the doors shut at 7 p.m, then we go to the back table and we work till midnight. And so it's like we're working 2 jobs because these people want design services and we know how to do it. But first we thought we were a retail store. So we're trying to figure out how to wear both hats until finally we decided we needed to build a design center behind the store with libraries of all the fabrics and all of the marble samples and everything we could ever need to build a house. So we were in that sort of limbo stage, and we had a client come to us that was an executive, and she had a PowerPoint. And we were like, what a great idea. How organized is she? She had all the things that she liked, that she didn't like, that she had pets, that she loves the way that they feel. And it was just like such a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. It was almost as though she answered, a 10-page survey, but she just handed it to us. And she's like, I've never worked with a designer. Like, these are the things I value. This is what I want. And it helped us kind of take us out of being cowboys, and it helped us really start to form our process, because of course we wanted to show up for her, because we were like, this girl's got it together,
Yeah.
Like, we can't just freestyle on this thing and hope it turns out. So anyway, it was a real thrill. And like, to this day, we've done, I guess like 2.5 houses with her. And it's just like such a thrill to get to have repeat business and work with people that we've done, a previous home for or a second home for, and to have the trust of them. Even though when we first opened, we were kind of like cowboys, but they still really like us and trust us. So that's good.
Well, what's not to like about a cowboy?
I know.
Or a cowgirl from Richfield, Utah.
There
right?
you go. There you go. Yeah. No, it's great fun. It's a huge privilege. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Jess, thank you so much for joining us today.
of course, my privilege. It's so great to talk to you.
And thanks to all of you for joining us as well. And we will see you on the next episode of Guiding You Forward.